Hey, welcome back, everyone. Jeff here with the white 96 F-150 4x4. I wanted to go over maintenance records on this truck because there have been a number of items replaced over the years on this pickup. So one correction I need to make whoa, that got weird, is I am technically the fourth owner on the truck. We can see that owner 3 had it from 2004 until 2000, let's say 15, depending on when they bought it in 2004. In 2015, the truck was purchased by Merrill Ford up in northern Wisconsin, and kept by the owner as his personal truck, but put into inventory, so it remained untitled. So when I got the truck, it was still in owner 3's name. So just to clarify that. But let's go through that Carfax. Carfax is clean, of course, as far as accidents and things like that. This truck has never even been smoked in, so that's pretty spectacular stuff. So no issues that way. As we go through the records, beginning back in 1995, just normal registration. We get into 2003, and what's interesting is that we're seeing just 7,000 miles. So this truck likely was elderly owned and not driven extensively right out of the gate. Look, I say this and mention it because then that the truck hasn't been off-roaded and things of that sort. Go ahead and flip the page. 2004 with 9,400 miles. Now, at some point here, the vehicle was sold. We'll look for that because there's the mileage starts to go up. Someone started to actually drive the truck, but the first 10 years, this truck had almost no miles. So we go through some of the service here. Beginning up here at Superior Brookdale Ford. So the oil's been changed on a regular basis, things of that sort. Maintenance inspection completed. Brakes checked, transmission fluid changed back in 06. So that's worth noting. I wish there were miles that went with that. Brakes checked, charging system checked, things of that sort again. We get to 2006 again, and we've got an EGR hose replaced. More maintenance, more inspections. This is where that jump in mileage takes place. So by 2008, the truck had 45,000 miles. So someone started to daily drive the truck. Which is good. I'm glad that someone started to drive it. Worth noting, when I paused earlier, I was actually looking for this particular piece of maintenance too. Those of you who have had a lot of these F-150s know that the oil pan gaskets are common to leak on both the 302s and the 351s. I know it's been 15 years, but I do feel like that may have been a factory type of flaw, because it's one of those things where once you change it, it seems to be good to go, but that is a major pain. It's, for me, you guys might chuckle, for me, it's all day. I don't know about some of the other fellows who might be able to pound that out, but other things, mentioned again as we scroll down, we see those, the mileage jump up to 50,000, between August and May of that following year, which is good. Again, someone was really driving this. We got brake shoes replaced, pads replaced, and a fluid flush as well, which again is consistent because fluids looked really clean on this truck. Go through, we get into the early 2010s. 2010, we got 59,000 miles. 2015, we're up to 72,000 miles. So 12,000 miles there in 5 years. So, someone again stopped driving the truck on a regular basis. Now we get to Luther Brookdale Chevy in 2015, and then it was sent to auction. I don't know if it just wasn't sold there. Went to auction, and that's when Merrill Ford bought the truck, was in 2016. And so you'll see some of their maintenance is here on the Carfax. And then you see when I bought the truck there in April. So some of the maintenance records then right through Merrill Ford. Notice here when they got the truck, 2016, truck showed about 73,599 miles. Let you screenshot this if you'd like, but ultimately the truck started running rough and threw a whole bunch of check engine lights or codes. What they ended up doing was replacing the PCM. So the truck has had the computer replaced, which is good, because again, the computers on these trucks can be a little funny. Not that I have tons of problems, but I've had computer problems on a couple of trucks over the years. So that's been done. But as part of the diagnosis process, it also looks like a tune-up was performed. So cap and rotor, and I noticed, I'll show you outside under a visual inspection, that the plugs and wires have been replaced as well. So that was a little over $1,000. Now we get into other maintenance here, just showing an oil change. This goes backward. I'm sorry that this is slightly out of order. So this particular piece of service occurred prior to the last one. Sorry about that. Something else worth noting is that at 73,492 miles, the rear shoes showed 5 millimeters left. So, decent life left on the rear shoes. That's not something then that I think anyone should have to worry about. 74,900 miles. This is back in 2017. Truck was again running a little rough. And I love this. Like, the same stuff happens on these trucks over and over. I've owned about 40 of these, 92 to 96 F150s, and it's like, oh yeah, clean mass airflow sensor. Imagine that, because I've done that on like 15 of them over the years. And again, additional, oil's been changed at least annually since this owner of Merrill Ford had the truck, which is great, because he certainly wasn't, he's driving the truck like 500 miles a year. Then we got a battery that was put in 2019, which shows as well. You can see in the photos that the front brake pads look good as well. The truck brakes as it should, as you can see in the videos too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, go outside, and do a visual and show you some other items that I know have been replaced, maintenance that I've done, and then a few suggestions from me on things just to keep an eye on. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're walking out to the truck. This is a continuation of the maintenance video. Gosh, isn't this thing beautiful? Son of a gun, this truck is sharp. Good driver too. So as I mentioned, I've got photos of the front brake pads. Here's the battery that was put in by the dealer. This alternator's been replaced. So that's an aftermarket alternator, so we know that that's been done. Note the gasket there on the thermostat, right over by the gooseneck. So we know that the thermostat's been replaced. The coolant, I flushed the coolant when I got it. The truck is still pretty hot, so I don't want to pull the cap. But the coolant's just kind of like meh. So I replaced that. Truck has a fresh air filter. Oil's been changed with 5W30 and a fresh Motorcraft filter. Note as well, from the previous talk, it had brake fluid flush. Transmission fluid's been changed, and look, gang, it looks really good, and the truck shifts really smoothly. So, look, this isn't out of laziness. It's just like out of how often do you replace stuff? I mean, that, I don't know how that's showing up on the camera, but that is really, really faint. I mean, that's the best fluid, is when you can just see it's wet and it's not even really showing up red, because it is so good. So again, I opted to not do transmission fluid. I did do rear differential fluid. That's often overlooked. So I did do that, and that looked, that actually looked pretty good. When I was emptying it out, I'm like, yeah, I probably didn't need this. So that's good to know. You know what? Serpentine belt here. If you can see, that serpentine belt is showing some cracks. Let's zoom in. Showing some cracks. I'd probably throw a serpentine belt on it. In fact, I'll be honest. If I have a belt here, I'll throw it on before the sale. As I mentioned, plugs and wires are aftermarket. So I know that those have been changed, and we had the receipt for the cap and rotor. So I double checked timing, and everything was good that way. So I left it. Suspension wise, as you could see from the videos driving with me, the truck is quiet. Shocks are still good on the truck. The front end is nice and tight. Does appear that the truck has original ball joints, upper and lowers on all, on both sides. But I'm not getting any indication either, by me prying or just driving down the road, that those ball joints are starting to wear or anything like that. The truck is nice and sound yet. And again, it's like, at what point, do you just start replacing stuff to replace it, or do you wait for things to start showing signs? And I can't justify it if it's not broke, why fix it? Let's go underneath real quick, and we'll wrap this up. Bushings, radius arm bushings look good, and again, I'm not getting any clunks or anything weird, while driving the truck. So, it's telling me that those are nice and tight. And if you notice in the notes from the Ford dealer, they say, monitor potential seepage from rear main. Look, gang, all I can do is give you my word. Any sort of seepage that this truck is experiencing is so light that it doesn't drip onto the ground. I'm not saying that there might not be some seepage under here, but it's not seeping to the point that it's actually causing a drip. So that's all I can tell you. And I keep my vehicles parked in the same spot. So if you do come out to see the truck in person, I'll show you where it sits, and we can go from there. But I do believe that this truck is ready for miles in its current state. Tires that were on it, you note in the notes again that it said that there was some chop due to a lack of rotation, and it did. The ride kind of sucked. So I threw some new Goodyear Wranglers on here. These are 31 1050s, stock size for a 4x4, but they look good. They look really good. The truck sits nice and stout. But not too often I do a maintenance video, and a long one at that, but I just kind of wanted to go over some odds and ends with you, so that you understand why I did certain things and didn't do other things. I believe that's it. So thank you. Thanks for staying with me on this one. One heck of a nice driving pickup truck, and I sure do love in '96 that these trucks went to OBD2. A lot easier to diagnose, different computer codes and things like that when they do come up. So, hey, take care, gang. Bye-bye.